Is the world going soft on Iran, and will it come back to haunt all of us? Let us ask Frank Gaffney. Frank is the founder, president of the Center for Security Policy, and Hussein Ibish, the executive director of the Foundation for Arab American Leadership. Frank, what say you?
I think we know how this plays out, Neil. We've actually had Iranian diplomats declaring to their own councils that they've bought time with the diplomacy they've engaged in to this point, allowing their covert nuclear weapons program to go forward, defeating efforts to bring it to a halt. And I think you're going to see more of this. Frankly, whether the IAEA continues playing this game or whether it gets kicked over to the UN Security Council, which seems to be the best case at the moment. Either way, I think we're going to be confronting shortly, I don't know how soon, but shortly, a nuclear-armed Iranian regime run by an Islamo-fascist group that threatens not only Israel and Iraq and Europe, but us as well.
Hussein, does an armed Iran worry you?
Yes, of course. I mean, I think very much. And I actually think almost everyone outside Iran is concerned about the prospect of another nuclear power and a nuclear power that is not particularly stable. For all the same reasons that Frank mentioned, I think, and more, one is concerned about this. But I think one has to face the fact that the only real way out of this situation in the immediate term is a deal. There really isn't a military option. I think that's a sort of unstated assumption that underlies all this criticism of diplomacy.
What would you do, Hussein?
Yeah, what you need to do is you need to keep up pressure on Iran. And what the IAEA meeting is doing and what would happen at the Security Council is the process of building a consensus whereby real international sanctions could actually apply pressure on them. We in the United States have almost no dealings with Iran, so we can't do that. The other thing that you need to do, the missing component, is to sit down with the Iranians and have a serious conversation about their security needs.
Let me stop you right there. It's a good point. I've heard that expressed before. Frank, sit down with the Iranians ourselves. What do you say?
You've got to.
Yeah, well, you can do that until the cows come home, or more to the point, till their nuclear weapons come in. And I mean, what Hussein is laying out here is, of course, the precise exercise that we saw played out in Iraq in the run-up to that conflict.
Well, and there were no weapons.
It made, excuse me, Hussein, it made the difficulties we're confronting today possible to have indulged in the diplomatic dance to no end, when it was perfectly clear, as it is today in Iran, that Russia, China, perhaps others, are going to be throwing body blocks to try to protect their client.
Well, guys, we don't have a lot of time.
Guys, this gets much more dangerous the longer we go on.
We got no time here, so I just want to know from either of you, is it a given that Iran's going to have nuclear technology?
Not at all. And don't you wish?
Not at all. Frank, what do you say?
Don't the viewers wish we had given the UN some time?
That's the nature of this regime.
Okay, guys, thank you for saving time by talking over one another. That got things going, but appreciate it just the same. All right, you've been watching all these media